And welcome back, everyone, from that short intermission. We are now into game two of week three of Coalition League's spring split, and we are looking once again at Vengeful Reapers versus DoV Nightfall. We just had an exciting back and forth game one, and here we are looking into game two here. I'm Random Minion Caster, and for this game, we've switched out my co-caster, and it will be Angelic Poro with us for this game. Hey, Poro, how are you?
I'm doing pretty fine. I've just been chilling around, just watching the previous game. Some pretty interesting stuff has been going on for sure.
Definitely. And they've already completed their picks and bans here for game two. So we'll be able to look into this here. And a reminder, Vengeful Reapers had lost 3 bans in game one due to some roster issues. They will have their full bans here. So on the side of Vengeful Reapers, they banned out Senna, Swain, Vel'Koz, Cho'Gath, Mordekaiser. On the side of DoV Nightfall, they've got this similar bans as last game: Kale, Oriana, Karma, Annie, Vayne. For picks, Vengeful Reaper is running Thresh, Zaya, Lee Sin, Lissandra, and that Ziggs is not supposed to be Ziggs. That is a set. It looks like the problems with Pro Draft continue this game for them. So that's once again Thresh, Zaya, Lee Sin, Lissandra, and Set. On the side of DoV Nightfall, they too have had issues. So they have Morgana, Caitlyn, Warwick, and that's not a Tom Kench. That is a Diana for Phantom X in the mid lane. So Morgana, Caitlyn, Warwick, Diana, and Maokai. So, Poro, having seen game one and now seeing the picks and bans for game two, what do you think?
Definitely for Vengeful Reaper, it's gonna be a harder team to pull off here since they would do have to coordinate with Lee Sin when they do go in with Lissandra and Lee Sin. And then really wonder how they're gonna set into their team comp since Set is just gonna showstopper away from Zaya and Thresh. Um, Yeah, and for DLV Nightfall, it's easier to pull off here. It's gonna be much easier since they're just going for picks. With Diana, they have the option of just flashing in and she just goes in with her ult, and then her entire team can just follow up from there. And the game is gonna be mainly focused on Phantom X, and for Vengeful Reaper, it's mainly gonna be uh Fez.
Yeah, so it looks like the mid lane will be the key to watch for this game. We'll definitely see how that goes. And DoV Nightfall having to completely change up their compositions here. Those 3 bans going over to Vengeful Reapers that they didn't have last game have changed everything up. They banned Phantom X's Cho'Gath as well as Lord of Aces Mordekaiser. So change the solo lanes, change everything up there. And on the side of DoV, they didn't change up their bans much, and Vengeful Reapers didn't feel the need to change up their picks and bans much either. Just, I guess, the only major change here being the Ashe into a Zaya. I guess they didn't like how immobile Ashe was and the fact that she got caught out quite a few times there in the last game. And now we're loading onto Summoner's Rift here. So we will be transitioning over. Both teams are on right now. There we go, and you can see the Diana instead of the Tom Kench, and you can see the set instead of a Ziggs there as well. We see some pings coming down inside of Vengeful Reapers for the top side Pixel Bush, but it looks like they're still just going to do a 5-point defense. Nobody's going to go too crazy here. Both teams having decent level 1 CC. Thresh for Jadelian here will be a solid level 1, and Web Hippo going for the Morgana will have the Dark Binding if they do not have any level 1 shenanigans here.
I just want to say that even if Vengeful Reapers will invade, um DLB Nightfall should have the advantage in the early games. Because just due to a lot of lifesteal come from Warwick and Diana's AoE damage, which Vengeful Reaper do not have a lot of, but if they are able to get that one pick, that could just set them away from the entire game.
Definitely. And like I said, it looks like both teams just choosing to be a bit passive here. And we've noted this before, but in Coalition League, a lot of teams seem to just favor the passive 5-point defense, not a lot of early level 1 invades here. Now both junglers will be starting their red buffs on their respective sides. And unlike last game we had a Lee Sin versus J4 matchup in the jungle. Both very strong level 2 ganks this game. Gunth on the Warwick won't be quite as strong at the level 2 gank. Will probably be opting to farm it out a bit more. So potentially looking for a mid or bot lane gank later, level 3 or level 4. On the other hand, Lee Sin just picking up his red, running straight up to that blue buff there. Potentially looking for a top lane gank at level 3 or level 3.
Right. As you're saying, Gunth is not going to be relatively effective at around level 2, but you also gotta know if Lee Sin does run into Warwick's jungle, Warwick is going to be pretty easily to kill Lee Sin wherever he goes in his jungle. And we do see that they both go to their buffs immediately, regardless of raptors or wolves.
Yeah,
which is
mirroring their paths there, but Gunth and the Warwick a little slower, it looks like, in the jungle, but it shouldn't be a significant difference here. Bot lane, we saw Poison Lynch and Web Hippo hitting level 2 first. A beautiful bind from Web Hippo here, followed with the trap. We've seen this combination before. Web Hippo and Poison Lynch love layering their CC. Will chunk Jadelian down to less than half health in just one swift trade there. But as we're saying that Gunth on his Warwick problems gank, he does get an excellent gank off in the mid lane, forcing Fez to completely disengage here. And Jason KB taking that opportunity, looking to see if he can invade the jungle, but spots out Gunth rotating there, decides to back off instead, maybe go look for a gank in the top lane.
Right, and Lee Sin, of course, this kit is going to be relatively strong in close quarter combat. But this Maokai just has a lot of engage regardless of what happens. Facebreaker does come out. Lee Sin goes in with the Sonic Wave, but is unable to get anything, but forcing both the flash in the top lane.
And an aggressive flash from Epic Gamer there. Just dive under that turret with that flash, using it to try and get the grab there onto Lord of Aces, which he does manage to do. Lord of Aces, well, so they burn a flash for a flash in the top lane there. Both junglers will be happy with that. It will give them an easier gank access into that top lane there for both junglers.
Right, for sure. As we haven't seen too much ganks coming out from Gunth right now, but as we say that, he's already in the bot lane, gonna go onto Thresh. He connects the spear with the Q, and it seems the first blood will go onto Warwick. However, the side is still going on this Warwick, and he won't be able to get anything. However, in the mid lane, we do see a root coming out onto Diana, and Diana will be able to save. However, in the top lane, Set and Maokai is already going into a brawl, and a lot of actions here is on the map, but it's quite a lot of actions for a low outcome.
Yeah, just lots of fights breaking out here. Both teams getting hyped. They have strong early games here, and you know, Gunth really making his ganks count there. They put themselves onto the scoreboard on the side of DoV there. 1-0 and first blood going over to Gunth. And even with just that one kill, we're starting to see almost a 1,000 gold lead here, and that's not just because of kills, obviously. It's better laning, better jungling on the side of DoV. Once again, we see that discrepancy in the gold in the bot lane. You know, 500 gold up at 5 minutes on the side of Poison Lynch and Web Hippo there. The supports offer about 200 gold to be expected from a mage support versus a tank support. And in the jungle, another 500 gold difference from the junglers here. Gunth pathing extremely well to make use of his good sustain in the jungle, and ganking surprisingly well considering he didn't really have much hard CC there.
One thing I want to know that is Mountain. Hold on, it's the second true damage comes out, and a crit for 173, and Seb will be able to get the kill onto Lord of Aces.
Yeah, Lord of Aces not respecting Set's damage there. Epic Gamer just walking into him, landing the Haymaker, almost killing him outright with the Haymaker. That was absolutely huge for the side of Vengeful Reapers. It basically just equalizes their gold right there.
I was going to say it is Mountain Soul, or not Mountain Soul Holy. It's Mountain First Strike, so it is gonna be especially important for, I believe, DOV Nightfall to get this First Strike, and it's gonna be quite crucial for them. Lissandra does use both her ults and her E to get in, but won't be able to get anything out of it. And we do see a bind coming out onto Thresh, but it's not gonna do much just to poke.
Yeah, Fez being very proactive with the out there. He's also going to be very low on mana after this. Doesn't quite have the vision, so Gunt will be able to get this gank off real easy. Phantom X going in horribly aggressively there, using the engage when they're low on health, but it is enough damage. The damage burst coming up from Gunt and Phantom X is fantastic there. Gunt's picking up the kill again for 2 kills there, putting him very far up ahead. Jason KB in gold and experience a level up in the jungle there.
Understanding coming out from Phantom X that after Shock, Lissandra won't be able to do much, so she didn't have to waste anything when she went all in, and Lissandra still had Ignite, but wouldn't be able to do much, so he just stood there and took it.
Yeah, and that's really bad news actually for Fez because that's going to keep happening here. Diana does skill up a lot, and with items she can start doing a lot of damage there. You can't win early. As for Lissandra, you're going to have problems. Lissandra's advantage here being that she has more CC, will be able to use her ult and her W there to freeze up Diana to hopefully get some good easy positioning for gank from Jason KB, but we'll have to see if Jason KB can make use of all that CC. And as we say that, he's ganking top lane. Lord of Aces is really far up there. Didn't have the vision for it, and it will be an easy pickup for Jason KB, just riding that Sonic wave in. Will pick up his first kill of the game to even up the score at 2-2.
Yep, and he did have vision on Lee Sin that was coming up through the river. Possibly just not paying attention of what was on his minimap, but we can't say for sure since we can't see his reaction and screen.
Definitely, and I think DoV has to be careful in that top lane. Set is known as a tank cluster, has extremely favorable matchups into tanks. Maokai might be one of the stronger tanks in the current meta, but will not be able to lane effectively against Set there. So DoV will have to really be careful and watch that top lane. Will want to force either Epic Gamer out or just get team fights going to force the disadvantages lane for Lord of Aces to be balanced out there. And we do see Guns now coming potentially to get some ganks off. He will run across a pink ward there, and looks like Epic Gamers just giving him a ring around the rosy treatment. Will be able to safely back behind that wall there.
See that control has been there for quite a bit actually, and only now Lord of Aces just clears it. So it was pretty crucial for Epic Gamer to have that control ward there. If he didn't, he possibly would have died.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that Guts just ran through that bush. I guess he didn't realize it was quite there when he was ganking that lane. And in bot lane, J-Delion basing there, leaving Imagines alone. I don't know how safe that is. I don't think Imagines knows that Web Hippo is in that bush. Web Hippo is sick, so can just walk out and use the Morgana ult right there. Imagines gonna get stunned up and followed up with the Dark Binding. Now Kate gets the trap down, the poke, and easy kill there. A flash heal burn from Imagines for a flash from Poison Lich, and Poison Lich still does secure the kill.
Yeah, definitely had to flash much earlier. With the slow coming out from Morgana and with the bind and everything, she had to use it earlier if she wanted a chance of living. Her Featherstorm wasn't gonna be able to dodge the binds. However, Lissandra and Thresh and Lee Sin will miss everything, and Caitlyn will live to see another bright light.
My goodness, that was so unfortunate. A very good 90 caliber net to get Caitlyn out of range from Lissandra's Ice Tomb there, barely saving her. And the death sentence from J-Delion hit a minion. He wasn't quite in position to throw that, but he threw it anyways. Very good patience on the side of Web Hippo there to get his gank off, but not so much good patience on the side of Vengeful Reapers as they jumped the gun just a little bit early there, and they have to be careful of doing that. If they continue doing that, they are going to find themselves losing all. And it looks like there was a kill that happened that we missed there. Phantom X getting caught out, pincered by Epic Gamer and Fez. They will return the kill onto Diana there, and it will go over to Epic Gamer. So bad news bearers for Lord of Aces in the top lane as Epic Gamer gets even more fed.
As we've seen as last game, Set is also going for a Blade of the Ruined King again of what supposedly is the meta. And it's working out for him quite a bit for now, but we haven't seen too much action coming out from the Berserker's Greaves and the Vampiric Scepter. Or Warwick is in the top lane, Infinite, the rest will come out, and they will layer the CC out. And the true damage, however, is just too much for Maokai, but Warwick will clean up and will shut down this set.
You know, and that was the advantage I was talking about for Gunth there. His lanes have a lot of CC. His ganks are going to be so easy there for him. You know, just a twisted advance, and next thing you know, he's locked up there. But it was actually Gunth starting off that particular gank in the top lane. Either way, it works out really well for him. And we've got Jay Delian now looking to get a gank mid. Somehow he managed to loop around, and he's actually on the top side. I don't think he got spotted getting into that bush, so Phantom X is not going to have any idea that Jay Delian's sitting in that bush.
We did see that just right before the game, he did use Herald in a pretty wrong fashion. If he kept it a little longer, perhaps he would have got a tower, possibly two, if Lee Sin was in the area. But however, he just used it prematurely, and that is gonna definitely hurt this team. Diana will get Ice Tomb and will go down.
Yeah, that 3-man gank into the mid lane there. That was absolutely brutal for Phantom X. I thought he played it the best he could there, dashing across to safety from the furthest member on the side of Vengeful Reapers, followed with the Protobelt to get the safety, but not quite enough. They managed to land the Ice Cream, and that's all she wrote when it comes to Phantom X there.
Now they're just sieging his middle turret, and they're just gonna go for plates only, so a pretty good decision. And we see here Epic Gamer just having a lot of attack speed, able to sustain against this Maokai. And now in the bot lane, we do see Lee Sin getting quite poked out, and Caitlyn just barely missing her Q.
Yeah, we've got quite a split map here in a way. Like, the top lane is very heavily in favor of Vengeful Reapers right now. The bot lane's very heavily in favor of DoV Nightfall. The mid lane's more in favor of Vengeful Reapers, but the jungle is on the side of DoV right now. So it really depends on where all the how this pans out and where they're sending their leads to. We do see Maokai using the ult there to try and catch Epic Gamer. It's really slow, and Epic Gamer just ends up walking out to safety. They're not layering their CC quite perfectly, but it doesn't even matter. They have enough damage to take down Epic Gamer.
It's just barely, the Warwick or Infinite, the rest just barely hits, and it's the end of the light for, or end of the tunnel for Set there. Just lowering his chances of where to go, forcing him into the wall, so he doesn't have quite enough room to dodge the Infinite duress.
Yeah, and that lead they had in the top lane, Vengeful Reaper's lead in the top lane, is quickly dwindling here. The ganks are starting to shut him down. I mean, he will still be able to handle Maokai in a 1v1 anytime here, but the 1v1's not where this game, I suspect, is going to be decided. Last game we saw it was a massive team fight right before Baron that decided the game, and it's looking like that's going to be the case here now. Oh, and a beautiful engagement time from Lissandra.
Oh, missed ult from Lissandra. However, this Caitlyn will possibly go down. Yes, the flash comes out from Xayah and getting the shutdown. And however, in the top lane, we do see the showstopper and the kick coming out from Lee Sin. However, this Maokai is just way too tanky, and he might be able to run away. However, this Lee Sin will land a Sonic Wave, and the flash will come out onto Maokai. And the hook will land onto Morgana. However, will this Morgana fall? The tower shots, it's so low. Warwick is in the area. Very close one. And the hook lands onto Warwick. Thresh will be able to pick up one kill in the end, and Warwick will finish off the deed. However, chasing Xayah will end this entire fight.
Yeah, Gunth 6-0 now. The man is doing work this game, making up for his last game where he had very little impact in the early to mid game. He's rampaging across the side of Vengeful right now, and that fight in the bot lane, Web Hippo just disrespecting the Thresh damage. You know, he hadn't attacked for a while, so his Flay had stacked up quite a bit of damage there. When you just walk into range of that, your Black Shield isn't going to save you. That's not magic damage, and just gets instantly popped by Web Hippo when he walked back into that.
Due to that mistake, Caitlyn, of course, did die earlier in the fight, but it was easier for Gunt to pick up the kill if Thresh did not focus Gunt here. And Gunt is slowly becoming a Titan in this game. And it's gonna be significantly harder since as you said, he is 6-0. And now he has a Cloud Drake also.
Yeah, and while all that was happening, Phantom X was just sticking in the mid lane when Fez roamed down to the bot lane. Did manage to get mid lane turret as well, so that's 2 turrets in favor of DoV Nightfall. They're starting to get that lead again. They're about 2,000 gold up, and most of that I think is just from the turrets more than anything else. The kill score is pretty even, 7-6 there.
It's relatively even. You gotta know that the turret plates and the towers falling pretty much makes up for the gold lead of DOP Nightfall.
Yeah, and in terms of the jungle, huge discrepancy in the jungle, 2,000k gold. Epic Gamer going in, he doesn't want to be there. He was walking into 3 people, will go down before anyone else can reach him. And that's kind of the problem, I guess, with going that Berserker's Grieve, Blade of the Ruin King build. It's excellent in lane, but in team fights, you get hit by any CC and you're kind of done there.
So on the second of Flash, Ice Tomb comes out from Lissandra. However, Lissandra will fall instantly. They are so low coming out from Vengeful Reaper's side, and they will get picked off.
There you go. That's the AoE fights I was talking about. That's what will probably decide these games here. Both teams do like to sort of power into those fights there, and unfortunately, it looks like the AoE on the side of DoV Nightfall is stronger. You called it in the pick and ban phase there. They don't want a team fight. Vengeful Reapers doesn't have the advantage in those big team fights there, and that's going to cost them Dragon, that's going to cost them Herald. So now DoV is on Soul Point here for Drake. Mixed Drake will still be Ocean Drake, and Ocean Soul is absolutely massive. You put that on a Maokai, you put that on a Warwick, you're not going to be able to kill them anytime soon. It's actually really beneficial for Caitlyn and Morg too. Morg can easily proc the Ocean Drake from far away and safely heal up. Kate's also got a ton of range, so if you don't burst her down quickly, she'll just regen through that Ocean Soul.
Right, and I want to run it back a little bit, saying when you were talking about the Borg and Berserker's Greaves on set, as soon as you pick up those 2 items, it's gonna lock you into a specific playstyle that you have to play, and if you don't execute it correctly, your team just basically falls behind. It basically just forces you to split push the entire game, forces them to come to you, and you're not basically supposed to group. And with those 2 items, and the meta in top lane right now being basically on hit and Borg, you basically have to just stay on the side and do whatever you can to force them to come to you.
Right, and he was doing that quite successfully prior, but you know, once these objectives come up, it becomes much harder. Poison Lynch 1v1 Fezzy Fez.
And the trap does land on the set, however, Diana and Morgana is in the area. The Showstopper just does not do anything, and he will get bursted down by Diana instantly.
Yeah, as you said, you know, like, Set wants people to come to him, but that teleport puts him in a really bad position. He's going to them, not only going to them, but he's going to all of them. Again, 3 people sitting there waiting for Set to show up. Set does not do well in the multi-man fights. He doesn't do well against that big gang, so when he teleports into 3 people, he's just gonna go down. And teleporting into a Kate's always a risky thing. She puts a trap just right next to wherever you're teleporting to, and you're gonna probably should engage on that Kate right away.
So she teleport right next to Caitlyn, she's just gonna mess up your entire game, or your mental attitude, or whatever. And we see here Maokai does get a root onto a Thresh here, but nobody's with him, and he might just pay the price for this. Thresh and Zad is doing massive amount of damage, and he isn't able to escape. He's getting a triple knockup, just stalling for such a long time.
It took more than 10 seconds for them to kill that Maokai. He was alone in enemy base, and they just couldn't take him down. Like, that's such a big difference from Epic Gamer's Set.
Fortunately, Diana didn't have ult there, so he couldn't save Maokai, but however does pick up 1 with the ult right after she goes down.
Yeah, messy fight altogether there. Now, Poison Lynch should not have been there alone. Like, Caitlyn's strong, but you don't want the Caitlyn split pushing. She's not the safest split pusher there. You probably want Web Hippo near there, or at least have Gun hovering in the area. Unfortunately, didn't have it, and she goes down. And just as I complained about one ADC, the other ADC goes down as well.
You know, I'm starting to see a trend here throughout some of the games. I'm starting to see some of the ADCs just solo pushing and then just dying out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's just very unfortunate there. Well, Imagines looks like he's having some internet connection issues again. Has possibly, maybe that was why he got caught out under the turret. It's hard to say. We don't know what exactly the problem was, but it looks like he is having some sort of connection issues. Had them last game as well, but he has performed admirably considering that he is having internet issues. And that's one thing about Vengeful Reaper so far. They've been showing themselves to be a very strong early game team. We saw really good ganks coming out of Jason KB. Epic Gamer's been dominating his lane there, so you know they've had really good early games. It's just these mid-game fights. They've got to tighten up a little bit there. You know, they can't keep just picking unfavorable matchups for themselves. Epic Gamer needs to respect the fact that team fights are happening. He can't go into them. It's just 1v3. You know, the rest of the team also needing to recognize when they can go and when they can't.
As we see, the timer does come up for Ocean Drake. Vengeful Reaper is gonna have to try something soon. That, and they could just go for Baron if they react fast enough, but they don't have any vision in Baron and Dragon Pit. As we just said, they use a blue trinket at Baron, but they put it at the wrong spot.
Yeah, they get the wrong offensive order there. The other issue was that DoV had full vision around Dragon. They knew exactly where Vengeful Reapers weren't. So they knew that they were safe to take the Dragon. They saw Epic Gamer pushing top. They had all the lanes shoved in. They knew exactly where Vengeful Reapers were. So they didn't have to worry about a counter Baron rush on the side of Vengeful there. And one other thing to note, the difference in jungle level right now. Gunth is 2 levels up, level 13 to Jason's level 11. That's going to make a huge difference in smite fights right now. Lee Sin is really good. But as I say that, Web Hippo getting caught out. Great hook from Jadelian there. Will see him caught out, and he will go down. Will not be able to survive that. It's taking a lot longer though. Jason's having problems finishing that. But we will also see Epic Gamer going down once again on the side of Vengeful Reapers. Just out of position, going in the back, trying to flank on his own. But he doesn't have enough tankiness to survive those sort of side flanks there.
Yeah, as soon as you see a set with Bork, Berserker's Greed, you know he's not gonna be tanking, and he's gonna just be pure damage basically. And we do see him just go for the Wit's End, basically instantly after that fight.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily agree with the Wit's End build. I thought his build last game had a lot more impact, where he went with the Bramble Vest, put a bit more tanky stats into his build there. That Wit's End will help him deal a lot more with Lord of Aces, but who else is going to help with Phantom X? Phantom X isn't the one he's fighting though, so I don't necessarily agree with his build there, but we'll have to see. Lord of Aces, ironically, the tank here is actually getting a lot more split push pressure than Epic Gamer is right
now. Yeah, possibly that he just doesn't know that he's supposed to stay a split push throughout the entire time. That could possibly be the case. But it just seems that he just can't get any pressure around the map regardless of where he goes. Because Makai's always top lane, just gonna keep pushing it in, but Set is always gonna get countered by either someone from DLB Nightfalls.
And vision is completely blacked out on the side of Vengeful Reapers. They suspect, but they have no vision to confirm that Baron is being taken here by DoV Nightfall. Again, another uncontested Baron. We saw this last game, and shortly after this, DoV managed to close out the game. They went Baron to Dragon to push. They already have the Soul, and now they've got the Baron. They're going to look to end this game here.
Right. And we do see Set is still pushing, but this could be catastrophic if they continue just to push down mid. And we do see Set is now backing, but how effective is going to be since now they have powered up Baron and Cannon Minion.
Yeah, one good thing for them though, Lord of Aces doesn't have teleport, and he did go down to the bot lane to try and match the split push. Teleport from Epic Gamer.
He showstoppers over the wall, and where is Diana? He's not yet near. She's just blending. However, the Warwick is taking as much damage as possible. And now everything is going south for DLV Nightfall. However, Diana is still pushing in regardless of what was happening around the map at mid lane. And she will take up a tower and an inhibitor for that, in that case. And they will save 2 Baron on 2 players.
Yeah, and good flank TP from Epic Gamer there. I think it's probably been his best TP of the game, getting into that position to flank. And DOV just not respecting Vengeful Reaper's push out from the mid lane there. They knew that Lord of Aces didn't have teleport with bot lane. They knew Phantom X was top lane and isn't carrying teleport either. They saw Vengeful Reapers grouping up. You know, they knew that the 4 mid, so it was a 3v4, and they just, you know, didn't back off, didn't respect it, didn't have enough vision to catch the whole Vengeful Reapers coming out of their base there.
Yeah, it's no respect for Vengeful Reapers at all. But they were feeling confident since they were around 7,000 gold up. But now we see that gold lead has shrunk to around what I believe is 5,000 now. So not too well from. And we can see that the vision score around Vengeful Reapers is quite low compared to something you would see on a different game and to their counterparts.
Yeah, Vengeful Reapers ADC, imagine they're not using good use of the free ward. Sitting on 2 stacks on the trinket there, hasn't really seen much. Single digit vision score at 28 minutes in, but Gunth likewise also 8 vision score on a jungler. That's one of the lowest I think I've ever seen on a jungler. I'd be interested to see if there's been lower in the league thus far. But at least one good thing that came out of that fight was Phantom X managed to break the inhibitor in the top lane. So they do trade some pressure there, and that is now giving Lord of Aces that agency in the bot lane to just keep pushing in with the burned up minions. And they're splitting Vengeful Reapers. They've got to handle mid, they've got to handle top, and they've got to handle the split push from Lord of Aces bot.
Diana's not mid lane, so they don't have powered up minions in mid lane, but it doesn't matter because the Baron just goes down just now.
Yeah, so the Baron power play, not the best we've seen. Usually in the league, what we've seen so far is every time a team gets Baron, they get a lot of objectives off of it, often ending games. In this particular case, DOV didn't quite manage to make full use of the Baron there. They lost most of the Baron in that team fight mid, only Lord of Aces and Phantom X carrying it there. But Phantom X did get a good split push, did get a lot of damage off. And now Elder Drake is up. So yeah, we can see if they can manage to secure that, because that would definitely help them to end the game.
Game deciding fight here if they stop this Elder or not, if they do get it or not. So Vengeful Reaper, though they only have one chance, it's getting lower and lower, and they decide to turn immediately. And Caitlyn will 50 the caliber back. However, their backline is just getting shredded, and it doesn't even matter. Set in the backline, exhausted, and he will eventually go down, getting a double kill for Caitlyn.
I mean, that was such a promising initiate on the side of Vengeful Reapers. You know, the Lissandra gets in, they get the good target. Lee Sin gets a beautiful dragon kickoff, disengage Phantom X not getting the damage off the Moonfall on Diana's ult there, because she just got kicked off the fight. But then after that, what happens? Caitlyn was left unattended. She just managed to shoot from the back, and the fight just gets turned because the damage is just getting pumped out, and they have no way to stop it. And now that's game. They don't even take Dragon. They just run straight into Vengeful Reaper's base. Only Jadelian up right now. Jason up in a couple of seconds, but he won't be up in time to do anything here. Poison Lynch trying to focus that turret. Should be able to take it down, and that's game. DOV Nightfall winning both their games against Vengeful Reapers here.
Thing was for sure though, there was one optimal build that Set could have just possibly changed this entire game around, and we see because of it was this on-hit build that everyone's apparently going. It was not optimal, and it played to their downfall.
Definitely. I mean, he went Wits and Black Cleaver, just stacking that on hit as much as possible. But if you're dead, you can't hit anything. You need a bit more tanky stats to try and survive. I mean, that last fight, we did see Epic Gamer attempting to get another excellent flank on the side of it. The problem is he took too long. He didn't have TP that time, and just by the time he got in position for the flank, his team was already dead because they ran a 4v5.
Congratulations, to DOV Nightfall, getting both games, as you said, against Vengeful Reapers, and now they are, I assume they're gonna play their last game of this against 100 Weebs.
Yep, DOV will be facing 100 Weebs in a rematch of last week, which was a very interesting, close game at that point. They were fighting for third and fourth place. DOV has managed to pull off a little bit compared to 100 Weebs, but this will be an interesting match because I'm sure 100 Weebs will have prepared to face DOV once more. And then Vengeful Reapers, I believe, play MG Blaze next. A bit of a rough week one for them. They're playing DOV ranked third, followed by MGB ranked first in the league. But I'm still looking very much forward to that game. Vengeful Reapers has shown an excellent showing here in their first two games. Very good, strong early game. And MG Blaze tends to have a really strong laning phase, and mechanically they're really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing Vengeful Reapers play against them in lane and hopefully maybe be able to transition a little better into the mid game without making these sort of throws in their game against MG Blaze. So as we are now heading into intermission, we'll see you guys for round 3 of week 3 of Coalition League's Spring Split.